What's up, y'all? It's your brother in the footwork, DJ Cornerstone, and you are watching Give Us the Works on the Foot Workout channel, where I interview various dancers, DJs, and producers. So listen up and pay attention while our guest today gives us the works.
All right. Cool. Ladies and gentlemen, it's your brother in the footwork, your footwork news boy, DJ Cornerstone. And I got with us our sister, our homegirl, all the way across the doggone ocean, our sister Pamela Mendez. Y'all give it up.
Hey. Good to see you.
Yeah, real good to see you. You know, we missed you since you was out here for the Bud Billiken Footwork Appreciation Month and all that. So, how you been?
I've been working hard since I'm back and figuring things out, going through a lot, but in a really good way, getting a lot of clarity on how I want to proceed, we're going to talk about that also, but, with the documentary that I'm doing and, but yeah, just also taking care of my own life because I'm a vocal coach and I also have a band, just like a musical project. So it's like being active on different layers, but yeah, just had intense time finding clarity with that.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah, that's a number of things you got going on. Like, how do you manage your time doing all that?
To be honest, I have to be way better in like discipline and especially like sleeping same time and getting up early and stuff because it is challenging. The cool thing, what I'm really blessed, and this is also the reason why I'm able to do what I'm doing in the culture is because I get to be a vocal coach independently. So I can somewhat live from the students that come directly to me. Mm-hmm. And that also means that I can navigate. That means that when I need more time to do something else, I can just communicate that and there's no consequence other than having a little less money for the moment. But I'm not obliged to anyone with nothing I do. Like, that's an extreme amount of freedom I have. The price I pay is literally just the income, but I just I just really live that life of really prioritizing the things I believe in. So I just get up in the morning and I footwork, or sometimes I do yoga. So that's basically my daily routine. I get up and kick a leg pretty much.
Oh man, that's really good.
Yeah. And then I do, more like administrational stuff, whether it be for myself or for the culture or, sometimes also for my music. And then I teach in the evenings. And I have to find more time to produce music again. This is something that right now is not really fitting in the schedule. And I have to find ways how to do that. But yeah, pretty much my days are like that I teach in the evenings. And throughout the day, I organize and kick a leg.
Okay, I'm learning from you right now because I'm still having a problem with my time management. My stuff is all over the place. But I want to get into some of these footwork questions now.
Yeah.
So first off, I got to ask. First, I want to let everybody know because I didn't say it in the intro. I don't think I said across the ocean, but I want to be more specific. So Sister Pam is from Switzerland. So my thing is, well, like, how did you find out about Chicago footwork? What drew you to Chicago footwork?
It's a very interesting story. And it's hard to put like a date, a concrete time to when things happen. I think it was like a mix, sometimes when how decisions are made, oftentimes it's like you get a hint from life or from God through different angles. It's not just one person or one thing. So it started with me taking house dance lessons in 2013 for 2 years. but I really had an understanding of, you know, all Black cultures as being social movements.
Okay.
And so for me, it was logical that it didn't just end right there. And I would ask my teacher, like, okay, but you know what you're learning us, what you're teaching us is stuff from the 80s. So what happened after that, you know? And then there was no real response. And I started searching and I Googled what happened to house music. And then I came across a SoundCloud playlist with like Juke and Ghetto House.
Yeah.
And the first thing was, so it said Juke and Chicago Footwork, right? And it was like a track that was like something like a really sexual juke track, in fact, like hit it from the back, something, you know?
Yeah, a lot of them are.
Yes. And I had to laugh so hard because like this is a real big difference, you know, like when it comes to Black culture and European culture. For us, sexuality is way more private, especially for me, like how I was raised, you know. And it was like, I was just like, what is this? Because it was sexual, but it didn't feel dark, you know. It was fun. It had a humorous side to it. And then I just Googled, okay, Juke, Chicago Footwork. I Googled Chicago Footwork, and then I stumbled across the King Charles Pause Eddie video, like how to do Chicago Footwork, you know, the famous tutorial.
Yeah. Front of the battleship.
Right.
Yeah.
So that was like, okay, there is a whole new universe. So that was around 2013-14. And it made me feel like I want to learn this dance, and it made me feel like I don't want to dance house no more. I want to dance Chicago Footwork. That's what I really want.
That's good. I'm not laughing at you. I'm laughing at myself because I'm thinking I might start getting a migraine with this light. So keep on trying to figure out how to make this work. So you keep on going. I'm sorry. Keep going.
Yeah. So yeah, with that, but for a very long time, to be honest, because there were no classes and nothing, I wasn't even aware that I was thinking of Chicago Footwork more as something that people wanted to keep in Chicago. I wasn't aware that people were okay with people overseas learning this. Yeah. So I was basically I stopped dancing for like many years. I was just like a hobby, like just, you know, at home dancer, but not learning anything new. And then it was in 2019, I won like a prize to go to New York and produce a record there with a producer. Oh, nice. Yeah. Yeah, that was intense, and that was beautiful. And when I was there, I was taking, you know, lessons again. And the first thing I did once I was over there in the States was like research if there were any Chicago Footwork classes in New York. And so there weren't really any other than like 2 or 3 workshops with Ann and Tal from Creation. Oh, okay. And like just like as a guest, you know, not a steady thing. And I took those workshops, and the rest is history. Like it was like, you know, people can say what they want, but they did an amazing job at, you know, teaching the feeling of Chicago Footwork. And I was there in a positive way, losing my, you know, I was just feeling the music, feeling the rush of what was going on. And I was just like, I just felt like, I don't know, it was a very spiritual experience in a way that I felt like, okay, I want to dedicate my life to this, you know. It was like, this is the best thing I've ever experienced in my life. I'm going to go wherever it takes me.
You went all the way in.
Yeah. And, you know, learn what I have to learn from this, you know. So I thank them, you know, because they really opened it up for me. And then when I came back from New York, obviously the pandemic hit, which for my learning was a blessing, because that's when Creation started teaching online.
Oh yeah, okay. CFology and stuff?
I mean, it started actually, again, it was like very intense because they didn't really have the classes just yet.
Mm-hmm.
But again, you know, I was kind of not really so, well, by then I realized, yes, we can actually learn this as Europeans too. So,
Yeah.
and then what I did, because the pandemic hit, I would hit up Kelly Foreman and ask her if there are, because I just followed her on Instagram. And then I just wrote to her, like, are there any, you know, online classes? And first there weren't any. And then she just like started group chats where she would invite people who wanted to learn, and they would just teach us, you know, an Erkenjerk and made us drill it and just made sure we learned the basic steps. And that was completely free. And those group chats still exist. It's just free for people who want to learn. And so yeah, it was very beautiful, because that was kind of a part of the reason why, like, one of those people who were the reasons why they even started, because they had a bunch of people at the same time asking them for classes, and that's when they started those group chats. And later on they would start organizing classes through like an Indian platform, Misbehaving Beautifully.
Okay.
They had like a dance company in India where they would offer classes, and then King Charles started offering his weekly classes. And so this was basically my start through creation. Yes.
Nice, man. And shout outs to creation, man.
Yeah.
That's real cool. You know, how they helping to spread it all over.
Yes.
Because I'll share a little bit about me, like from Joliet, which is outside Chicago, about 45 minutes from the south side. And for the longest, it was just a Chicago thing. So if I was to visit family in Alabama, visit my family in Seattle, go to a party, there was no footwork. You know, no one really knew. But fortunately now I can pretty much go anywhere because of creation and the era and tech DJs and all that. So yeah, shouts out to them. But what I find real interesting about what you said so far is how it was kind of a trail for you. Like you started off with house. And what I like about that is, in all things with any kind of passion, it's like if you pursue what you love, it puts you on the path to more of what you love and push you towards that direction in which way you need to go to get to where you actually were meant to be. So though that was cool. And also because, you know, some cats that just in the conversation, some cats, they just straight jump to Chicago footwork. So you started with house, which is like how a lot of folks from the area started, because it was house in the beginning. So I think that's dope that you kind of went in that same order.
No, that's funny.
All the
You
way
say that.
Switzerland, you know, house to footwork.
Right.
Yeah. So yeah, right on. Man, so I got more questions for you.
Yeah, please. I'm happy if you ask questions. That's great.
How many footworkers would you say there are in Switzerland?
Yeah, I mean, I did some research and I found out that like 10 years ago, there were like 2 or 3, but they stopped. And as in right now, I don't know of any. I'm not saying they don't exist, but I haven't found it. Like I made a massive shout out in the hip hop dance scene in Switzerland, and nobody knew of anyone.
Oh man. So man, well, it's kind of cool because you kind of like the one then. You know, you the neo footwork over there. So
I mean, it's a really weird. I have to say, like, this journey has been really, really special, because, you know, the reason why I stick to it so much is because I could just feel the message of freedom and the empowerment, especially because I have a big heart for, like, let's say, you know, like when I stumbled across Chicago Forward and did my research what it was, it really reminded me of a whole other culture from Brazil that's called Coco.
Oh, really? Okay.
And they have a similar kind of dance and art culture with like drum playing and dancing that is also really super fast and gives you that empowerment and gives you that feeling of you have no power over my soul, no matter what you do to me. And you know, when it comes to what I always wanted to do in my life, this is really philosophical in a way, but I mean, that really goes back to my upbringing. Is like super complicated to like explain, but I was raised with many different cultures, and that made me really aware how Europe, or just how different cultures interact. And for me, it was really like, for me, it's like, since I'm like 14, for me, it was really obvious that as Europeans, or just as white privileged people, we have to unlearn how to, like, basically we have to learn how to stop oppressing everything else and everyone around us. And for me, it's really easy to talk about that because sometimes people would say like, yo, Pam, but you're white yourself. But it's like, yeah, but I didn't choose. Like, I'm not saying I have anything against it, but it's just like, there's one thing, I think the time is right. You know, like the time is ready for us to learn from what's going on. And also, like, we have the internet, we have the information. And I'm not hating myself or hating my people if I'm being outspoken on the fact that as white privileged people, we have to take on responsibility. And I really, really like felt that there is a message in Chicago Footwork for the world, you know. And I don't know, you know, I'm still like figuring it out. I'm still figuring out how to make my moves.
Yeah. And
it's not an easy topic at all, because like also when Shadon Battle is doing the documentary Chicago Footwork Saved My Life.
Right.
Footwork Saved My Life. And there I saw a snippet of a mother saying that, you know, basically Chicago Footwork is like the war dance for justice. Like something like that. And I really feel that, you know, the reason why I stick around is because I didn't come in here, like, it sounds like I really hope myself I'm speaking the truth, but how I think of it is I'm really not here for myself primarily, you know. Like, yes, I am inspired by the dance, and I love the creative experience every time I make up a move. I mean, that is just something so healing, to have the experience of your own creativity. But there are other places, you know, I'm a music producer too, so there are other places I can have that. It's not like I need Chicago Forward for that, you know. It's more that I really believe that, yeah, it's when it comes to the awareness of what I see, what in Europe has, like how I was raised, like it starts with that I thought house music was something that came from the UK. And we have a whole problem here in Europe that people just don't give credit to where actually all of pop culture comes from, you know? And for me, it's just like, I see, like for me, I perceive like Black culture almost like a source, like a flow of water. And it keeps on recreating new art forms, and you know, and then if you look at Chicago Footwork, it's not just Chicago Footwork. It has funk influences, soul influences, jazz, you know, you name it, it's all in there. And for me, like, you know, trying to serve the Chicago Footwork culture is more than just that. For me, it's actually serving that stream of Black culture, you know. That's what it means to me. So for me, I feel like I would even, you know, keep on supporting Chicago Footwork culture, even if I would have to stop dancing myself for some reason, you know, because I feel like all the other genres, there is already like kind of, you know, hip hop obviously made it, house music sort of made it. There's still adjustments to make because, as mentioned, you know, people still don't really have enough awareness where it's actually coming from. I think there's work to do too. Yeah. But for me, it's really about, you know, just saying thank you to, you know, the great gift of these art forms, because at the end of the day, it's what saved me spiritually in my life. And I'm sorry, I'm just going on talking a little bit. Are you okay with that?
Yeah, and that's cool, and I'm glad you touched on that. And I appreciate that, and I'm sure there's many others who do as well, because that's an issue. Like Black culture, like I don't want to speak for all Black people, but me personally, I say, like, I appreciate when someone dips into our culture, and it's like they're showing that they like something of us. And I know one of the concerns is not so much that other races participate in Black culture, but the concern is when people out from outside, when they take it and claim it as though if they're the creators or the originators of it. And I don't get that from you at all. So like I appreciate that. Like, in the past, that's been done in Americas all the way back to rock and roll.
Right.
And in a sense, we could say it was stolen, right? And at times, it's not even necessarily that a person was there for the intent of, I'm finna steal this from Black culture. At times, it was because white America is the predominant race here and all that, and the majority is that someone would have a white person do it for the sake of they want to appeal to white America, even though it wasn't a white America creation.
Right.
And then they will take it. So it's like it was stolen in two ways.
Yeah.
Like for a marketing thing, and also, hey, just for the sake of thievery, period. But what we appreciate is when like people such as yourself respect it and put it out there like, man, I really like this culture. I want to dip into it. I want to learn more. And I want to give credit where credit is due. Now, I think that's the good thing. The opposite end, that's where we have a problem. And it's difficult to really control or manage that, because over here on this side of the ocean, the folks with all the influence and all the power, well, I don't even want to say all the influence, but with all the money and the power, it's easy for them to do it, to just take it or find someone to take it, so yeah. So I just want to say thank you for that. But
I mean, it's just something that's really obvious and have to come to an end.
Mm-hmm.
And I just want to take the chance of this interview also to let people know a little bit more of what I'm actually standing for.
Yeah.
So,
I'm with it.
if you want to know what PAM stands for, I think one thing people should know is that I am an anti-capitalist. And the reason for that is just something I want to quickly explain. Is like, by definition, the reason why in capitalism it is okay to build a limitless amount of wealth is, the argumentation is, you are your own possession, you are your first possession, and therefore everything that comes through your body is your possession because you are your possession.
Mm-hmm.
And I strongly disagree. I'm not a possession. I'm an instrument.
Okay.
By the universe, or by the Most High, whatever you want to call it, but I'm life's instrument. I don't believe in possession. And so for me, it's clear, like, also like very much a socialist in that sense, that a society can also only be healthy if we look out for each other. Because that argumentation that you can just take and take and take if you made it somehow. Well, we are experts in like power structure, and especially white people, so for me that's not valid. And so, and also what I have a problem with white supremacy in that sense is like, okay, so let's say we take that, it's also like you have the rules of capitalism, But if you want to think, but in capitalism, there are rules of ownership too. You know, like scientists have very clear rules that you have to quote them. If you're making a new, kind of science, you're writing a book of science about anything, there are rules how to quote where knowledge is coming from and all of that. So I feel like, okay, if you want to go by the rules of capitalism, at least apply it. At least give the credit where people own stuff. If you believe in ownership, then at least bring it back, you know?
Yeah, that's on the real.
So it's just like, for me, how I see the world, I believe more like in laws of nature. And in the law of nature, yes, creativity flows. Creativity flows cross-culturally, naturally. And you will never stop that from happening, because I think art is part of human nature. So it will always spread. It will always try to be more creative, find new ways, have new, like remixes of cultures, always. But if you wanna have it in the frame of capitalism, which I'm deep down against, I also have to work in capitalism. I also have to sell my music, and we are all in this contradiction. But deep down in my heart, I'm against capitalism. But if you want to apply it, at least make the rules count for everyone the same.
There you go.
You know?
Yep.
So this is just on terms of like, yeah, what is my belief system? Yeah, I had to drop that.
Yeah, no, come on now. And we picking it up, Sister Pam, all the way. Yeah, but no, that's good. So I feel like, man, because my other question was going to be like, what are your intentions with footwork? Like, I know you got the documentary going on, and you're a producer, vocal coach, and all that, and emerging footworker. So anything else that like you have planned, like for you personally with footwork?
I mean, I am a music producer, and some of my tracks have influences. I mean, to be honest, I produced some tracks 2 or 3 years ago that today I look at them like, oh my God.
Oh, shoot, yeah.
And they're still going to be released because I have to release them by contract. So it's like, yeah, take it with a grain of salt. There will be music coming out, and 2 or 3 tracks will sound like somebody trying to get into Duke music and getting it wrong. Like, this is what it is.
Yeah.
But it's also fun. Like, I appreciate the music. It's fun music, but just know, I know this is not Duke. I know this is not footwork.
Hey, disclaimer, huh? Like.
Yeah.
Yeah,
but I mean, yeah, but it is part of my musical world, of course, now. So when I produce, like I just, when it comes to producing, I just let it flow. I produce whatever is inside of me. It might be that there might be more of that. In terms of footwork, I just try to not give up, because yeah, I went a very special route with footwork.
Footwork out.
Hey, well, that's it for today's episode. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you learned a lot. Be sure to check out our guest of the day's information, individual social medias and websites. That way you can support, because it's a good thing that we all support each other, right? And yo, Give Us the Works now is every second and fourth Wednesday of the month. So stay tuned. On the fourth Wednesday of this month, we shall continue our conversation with today's guest. But until then, be sure to take care of yourself. God bless you, and footwork out.